What if everything you believe about yourself is a lie? What if the doubts, the fears, the failures you carry aren't real, but just stories your mind has been repeating for years? What if I told you that the person you've been waiting to become, the confident, unstoppable, successful version of yourself, already exists inside your mind, and all it takes is a few daily choices to bring them into reality? Imagine if every thought, every word you speak to yourself, every habit you say daily, and those seeds grow roots until your thoughts no longer sabotage you, they empower you. Imagine walking into a room full of opportunities, not with fear, not with hesitation, but with the certainty that you belong, that you can achieve, that nothing can stop you. What if the words you choose today could build the person you are going to be tomorrow? And every single word you speak to yourself could either chain you or set you free. Your mind is listening. Every day you talk to yourself, it's recording, replaying, shaping. What if you start speaking the language of your own greatness and stop being your own worst enemy? What if I told you that stopping negative thoughts isn't enough? That simply trying to think positive won't free you from the chains of self-doubt, fear, and insecurity? The second key to brainwashing yourself for success is not just to eliminate negativity, but to redirect it, turning every thought that holds you back into one that pushes you forward. Negativity isn't the enemy, unaddressed negativity is. Every time you feel fear, doubt, or frustration, your instinct is often to suppress it, ignore it, or wish it away. But suppression only buries the thought temporarily, and it grows stronger beneath the surface, silently influencing your decisions, your energy, and the way you see the world. The shocking truth is that your mind is always looking for direction. If you tell it don't be afraid, it hears be afraid. If you tell it don't fail, it hears fail. Negativity has a way of taking the exact words you use against you. This is why the most successful people don't fight negative thoughts. They transform them. When a thought like, I'm not capable arises, they don't ignore it. They immediately redirect it into a purpose-driven belief like I'm learning, growing, and becoming stronger every day. They replace fear with curiosity, doubt with action, and limitation with experimentation. This isn't a magic trick, it's mental conditioning. The brain cannot act on a blank command, it needs direction. By deliberately guiding your thoughts toward constructive outcomes, you are literally rewiring your brain. You're teaching your mind that obstacles are signals to pivot, setbacks are lessons to study, and failure is the soil where resilience grows. Imagine if every moment of anxiety or self-criticism became fuel for action rather than a roadblock. What if the very thoughts that once paralyzed you could become your greatest motivators? The process requires discipline, awareness, and repetition. The mind will resist at first, clinging to old habits of worry and complaint because comfort lies in the familiar. But every time you consciously redirect negativity, you are planting a new neural pathway, one that becomes stronger with each repetition. Eventually, this becomes automatic. You no longer just avoid negativity. You harness it, transform it, and channel it into momentum. The energy that once held you back now propels you forward. What if the key to unstoppable success wasn't trying to think positive all the time, but learning the art of transforming every negative thought into a step toward your greatness? What if your mind, once your biggest enemy, could become your most powerful ally simply because you chose to redirect its energy with intention and purpose? What if I told you that every single habit you repeat is quietly rewiring your brain, shaping not just your days, but the very person you are becoming? The third key to brainwashing yourself for success is understanding that habits are not just routines, they are mental conditioning. Every action you repeat, every ritual you follow is like sending a signal to your subconscious. This is who you are, this is what you value, this is what is possible. And here's the shocking truth. Most people never realize most of their habits were chosen unconsciously, programmed by other people's expectations, societal pressures, or fleeting emotions. That means if you're living a life that doesn't feel aligned with your potential, it's not because of bad luck or lack of talent, it's because your brain has been trained to repeat patterns that keep you small. Your mind craves repetition because it equates repetition with safety. It prefers to do what it knows, even if it's harmful or limiting. That's why negative habits are so sticky, why self-doubt keeps showing up, why procrastination feels effortless. But the same principle works in your favor if you use it intentionally. If you create rituals that align with the person you want to become, you are literally rewriting the blueprint of your mind. Meditation, journaling, deliberate learning, focused exercise, affirmations. These are not just good habits, they are brainwashing tools, conditioning your subconscious to believe in your strength, your focus, and your capability. The power of repetition is shocking because it works below your conscious awareness. You don't have to force yourself to believe in your greatness. Every second of the day, your rituals do the work silently. Every morning you follow a disciplined routine, your brain records, this person is capable, consistent, unstoppable. Every time you act despite fear or hesitation, your brain updates its programming. Failure is not defeat, it is progress. Over time, these repeated signals create neural pathways that become automatic. You no longer have to fight your mind to stay motivated, it simply aligns with your new identity. What if the life you dream about is not just about thinking differently or working harder, but about systematically rewiring your mind with deliberate habits? What if the small, consistent actions you take every day are silently brainwashing your brain to succeed, while most people continue to let random impulses dictate their future? Habits are not just behavior, they are the language you speak to your subconscious, and by mastering them, you can condition yourself into unstoppable momentum and permanent transformation. What if I told you that the person you think you are right now, the one limited by fear, doubt, and past mistakes, isn't actually real? What if everything you've been calling you is just a collection of old habits, past experiences, and beliefs that no longer serve your future? The fourth key to brainwashing yourself for success is learning to detach from the identity that holds you back. Most people live trapped in the story of who they've been, letting old failures define their potential. They carry around labels like "I'm not smart enough," "I'm unlucky," or "I always fail," and they allow these stories to dictate every choice they make. But here's the shocking truth. None of it is permanent. Identity is fluid, and your mind can be retrained to see a completely new version of yourself. Your brain believes what it is told repeatedly. If you constantly remind yourself of past mistakes, you remain stuck in that cycle. But if you deliberately start telling a new story about who you are, about your strengths, your capabilities, your resilience, you begin to overwrite old patterns. This doesn't happen overnight. It's a process of consistent mental conditioning. Every thought you allow, every word you speak to yourself, and every action you take contributes to forming this new identity. The moment you detach from the old version of yourself and stop defining yourself by fear, limitation, or failure, you gain freedom to become someone extraordinary. The mind can be tricked into believing new truths if the signals are consistent enough. Visualizations, affirmations, deliberate choices, and small victories all work together to teach your brain, this is who you are now. When you start to act as the person you want to be, even before the results appear, your subconscious begins to follow. Fear loses its grip, hesitation fades, and your potential expands beyond what you thought possible. Imagine walking through life, no longer bound by the self you were told you had to be, but instead driven by the person you choose to become. What if your limitations, your doubts, and even your failures are not permanent shackles, but simply outdated software waiting to be updated? What if the identity that once held you back can be completely rewritten, and every thought, choice, and habit you cultivate from this point forward is a line of code in the program of your new self? Detaching from the old identity is not about erasing your past, it's about freeing your future. The moment you realize you are not your fears, not your mistakes, not your past, you unlock the ability to brainwash yourself into someone unstoppable, unshakable, and limitless. What if I told you that your mind is constantly being brainwashed every single day, whether you realize it or not? From the moment you wake up, the people you listen to, the content you consume, and the environment you immerse yourself in are all quietly shaping who you are, what you believe, and what you are capable of achieving. The The fifth key to brainwashing yourself for success is to feed your mind more than your doubts. Most people spend hours consuming negativity, gossip, criticism, and fear without ever realizing that every second of this mental diet reinforces limitations. You cannot hope to grow while letting your mind feast on messages of failure, scarcity, and self-doubt. The shocking truth is that your brain is like a sponge, absorbing everything, but it doesn't discriminate between constructive or destructive input. If you feed your mind doubts, fears, and negative comparisons, it will respond in kind, creating a reality full of hesitation, missed opportunities, and self-sabotage. But the same brain that can be hijacked by negativity can also be deliberately rewired by intentional influence. Surround yourself with empowering ideas, inspiring stories, knowledge that challenges you, and voices that expand your possibilities. Read, watch, listen, and engage with content that reinforces the version of yourself you want to become. Every hour you dedicate to learning, reflection, and growth is like rewriting the code in your mind, slowly but powerfully replacing fear with confidence, scarcity with abundance, and doubt with clarity. This is not about being positive all the time. It's about being deliberate. The human mind naturally gravitates toward what is repeated and familiar, so if you want success to feel natural, you have to feed it consistently. The environment you create around your thoughts becomes the training ground for your brain. Social media, news, conversations, even the music you play, each has the power to program or sabotage your mental state. What if you started treating your mind like a sacred space, only allowing in what serves your growth, your goals, and your future? The most shocking realization is that nobody else can do this for you. No mentor, no book, no program can truly change your brain unless you take control of what you allow to enter it. What if the only difference between the life you have and the life you want is the information, influence, and ideas you feed yourself every single day? By taking responsibility for your mental diet, by consciously filling your mind with empowerment instead of doubt, you are effectively brainwashing yourself into success, transforming your thoughts into unstoppable momentum, and turning your potential into reality. What if I told you that the person you want to become already exists, not in some distant future, but in your imagination, and that your mind is capable of shaping your reality to match that vision? The sixth key to brainwashing yourself for success is to visualize your higher self daily. Most people underestimate the power of their imagination. They think visualization is just daydreaming, a harmless escape from reality, but in truth, it is one of the most potent tools for rewiring your brain. Your subconscious cannot distinguish between something vividly imagined and something experienced. When you see yourself achieving, growing, and thriving in your mind, your brain begins to create the neural pathways necessary to turn those visions into reality. The shocking part is that the majority of people never consciously use this power. They let life happen to them, reacting to circumstances instead of proactively shaping their future. They see success in others and wonder why it hasn't come to them, without realizing that they are not sending any clear signals to their own minds about what they truly want. Visualization works because it programs your subconscious with a clear blueprint of your higher self. When you vividly imagine your ideal version, how they think, act, speak, and respond, you are effectively giving your mind a target to aim for. Every decision, every action, and every choice begins to align with that mental image, whether you notice it or not. To make it work, the process must be deliberate and consistent. It's not enough to imagine success once a week or half-heartedly picture your goals. You must spend time daily immersing yourself in the sights, sounds, emotions, and sensations of your higher self. Feel the confidence coursing through your veins, the clarity in your mind, and the energy of unstoppable purpose. The brain begins to accept this imagined reality as truth, and your behaviors start to reflect it naturally. What if the life you've been chasing isn't distant, but already exists within your mind, waiting for your consistent focus to bring it into existence? What if the small daily practice of seeing your highest self could gradually override doubt, hesitation, and fear, until your present reality bends toward your vision? By committing to visualize who you truly want to be, you are effectively brainwashing yourself, not with lies or false hope, but with the undeniable power of your own imagination, creating a future where your thoughts, actions, and results are fully aligned with the person you were always meant to become. Remember, success doesn't come from luck, circumstances, or waiting for the perfect moment. It comes from deliberately training your mind, rewriting your inner dialogue, transforming every negative thought into fuel, building habits that define your identity, feeding your mind with empowering influence, and visualizing the highest version of yourself every single day. You have the power to brainwash yourself for success, to create a reality where limitations don't exist, and to become unstoppable in pursuit of your dreams. Good luck on this journey of transformation. Believe in yourself, commit to your daily mental training, and watch as the life you imagine unfolds before your eyes. Thank you for giving your attention, your focus, and your energy to this message. Now go out there and become the version of yourself you've always dreamed of.